Hi guys, my name is Fumbi, and I'll be sharing with you just a small portion of my devotion time for today. So I'm currently doing a devotional on peace, and the scripture which I focused on today was from John 14 verse 27. So I'll just read the scripture to you. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. Not as the world gives do I give to you. Let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid. Now, the word is literally littered with promises of peace to us. But this particular scripture definitely stood out to me because Jesus is the one talking, and he makes a difference between the peace that he will give to us and the peace that the world gives to us. And yeah, so it's one that's important to actually recognize. And it kind of, a good analogy to kind of explain that is like, for example, there's this notion that a 9-to-5 job gives you job security, but the reality is it doesn't actually give you any job security, because at any point in time you could be made redundant, sacked, etc, etc. And I think that's the kind of difference that Jesus is talking about when he talks about the peace that the world gives to us and the peace that he gives to us. And yeah, so I just kind of meditated on that and just thought about, you know, whether I've been at peace with all the different situations that occur. And one of the things that God was reminding me is that peace that he gives to us is a type of peace that surpasses all understanding. And that's another scripture on peace. So it's a type of peace that surpasses all understanding. So you could be going through something crazy and people around you are just wondering how you could have so much peace, and they don't understand it. And that's the difference between the kind of peace that the world can give you and the kind of peace that God gives you. And another thing God was reminding me is that it really doesn't matter, you know, how bad the situation is. You know, peace is something that can't be tested when everything is all hunky-dory. Peace is tested when you are literally like in the middle of the fire, and you can still say, do you know what, I'm okay, and it will be okay. And it can be quite tricky because we live in a world that kind of tells us to go after our own peace, and you know, you can do this and that, and to try and find peace. And people look for peace in various different ways. Some people look for peace, you know, by just distracting themselves completely from what's really going on, and you know that really doesn't help the situation. But you know, I take comfort in the fact that the type of peace that God gives is a peace that, you know, will transcend every kind of situation that there is out there. And so my takeaway is, you know, especially like it's so apt now, you know, focusing on peace because of what's going on in the world right now with COVID-19, and yeah, it's just an interesting time to be living in. But you know, something like this has never been so close to home, literally, and especially with all the people working on the front line in the NHS and things like that. Like, people like that, really, you really have to be exercising your peace right now. And even if you're not working on the front line, you still have to be exercising peace right now. And so, you know, that was my takeaway from it, in that, you know, this week, this month, however long this will last, forever, to be honest, I will always prioritize the peace that God gives to me. I won't look for it elsewhere. I'll make sure that it's the peace that Jesus is giving is what I'm participating in. And yeah, I think a practical way of pursuing peace is just fellowshipping with God. It sounds cliche, but honestly, fellowshipping with God, reminding yourself of what he has promised to you. One of the scriptures that are quite prevalent in my mind right now is the scripture that says, 1,000 may fall by your left, 1,000 may fall by your right, but it shall not come near you. So scriptures like that will give you peace, and just meditating on them, praying on them, and just continuing to keep yourself around good people, people that will encourage peace as well, not people that will take away your peace.